I was determined that one day I was going to make it to America.
Când am fost mai tânără, parcă n-am fost prea convingător eu. N-am fost prea convingător sau n-am fost destul de lămurit ca să vin, să mă fi consiliat cineva.
Yeah, there was, I think my parents' generation was completely under the communist system. If I look at practices, for example, what I remember as a student is there was always certain practices about respecting the system, which I really don't know. I understand saluting the flag and, saying something patriotic or even praying to God. But we always had this long song that we had to salute. The picture of the president was on the wall. And we had to wear a certain, attire, like there was this kind of a tie that had the flag. So we were sent back home if we didn't wear those things. My dad, being here and visiting, he's just telling me a lot of stories that I forgot about, or whatever. One of them, he lived through the period in which Romania became communism. So he remember, his parents being not necessarily wealthy. The people, it was an agricultural society, so people had their own land and their own horses and cows and would work the land. And once Romania became communism, he remembers this one morning, the police version of those times came in and drew a line in front of the house and said, everything that's behind this line is ours now, it's no longer yours. That was the negotiation process. So everything was gone. They took the horses, the cows, the land. So then everything that people used to have became common property. That's why it's communism. And then people had to go work, using the tools and the land that they used to have, but it wasn't theirs anymore. And the state will take all that and sell it and, try to do things. And my recollection of it was, the money, everything was cash, for example, so there was no banks. And so if you build your own home, you had a home, there was no renting or borrowing or any of that. So what people had, it was theirs, but it was little, and access to resource was very limited. Basically, there was no supermarkets with stuff. Whatever you needed to have, you had to produce yourself. I mean, you could buy bread, butter, milk, oil, I remember flour, sugar, some things like that, but everything else, produce and fruits and vegetables, it was kind of your own responsibility. There will be very, serious consequences, anywhere from life in prison to death to punishment, because if you said something that somebody heard you and it was even a complaint about the system, that would have not been taken well. So I remember that fear that my parents' generation would have. I said, don't ever say anything about anything that you don't like. By the time I was 14, I already tried to escape Romania once. It didn't work. I remember it was June 8th. I turned 22 in March. So it was June 8th. It was the first time I flew. I still remember my dad took me to the train from my town to the city where the airplane. I took an hour train. And I still remember the hug that he gave me and the look on his face. He knew that I was not going to come back. I didn't.
La început nu prea bine, dar după aia m-am obișnuit că e o viață mai bună aici. Am fost fericit că m-am convins de lucrul ăsta.
I was just excited to go to America, and I couldn't comprehend anybody else's feelings or whatever was happening. My dream was coming true, and I just could not go behind that. So, getting on an airplane, touching chairs, they were motorized, things were moving, the lady that comes and asks you what you want. I remember going like, wow, what world am I in? And yes, I did probably mention the fact that I filled up my backpack with, I don't remember however many times, somewhere between 5 and 8 cans of Pepsi. And in Romania, we had the bottle ones that was flat. It was always flat. But this one, when you open it, it was like, seriously. So I remember I was so amazed. I mean, think about it, the things that were amazing me. And so, yeah, it was a very heavy backpack. My family waited. They were all out there. My mom's side of the family, she has 3 brothers and a sister in the States. So they were all there with their family and my grandparents with balloons and flowers, and here I am, I made it to America. And I remember this backpack was so heavy, and I said to them, can somebody help me with this? I can't believe they gave us all this Pepsi. So then my uncle, one of them, obviously there were several cars, and I rode with one of them. They all lived close by within a few streets at the north side of Chicago. And one of them had this convertible BMW. And I rode with him because he wanted to show off his car. Now, Romania has the same car, Dacia, and it's all a small European car. I've never seen a convertible car before, so it's summer, June, you know, he pushes the button, the thing goes down, and I'm like, who cared that I didn't sleep in 20-some hours? So it's just like, I remember pinching, going like, this is a movie, this is not real, what's happening, where am I? Nobody told me about this stuff. No wonder I didn't want to go back. Somehow you have to become aware that whatever we have to be grateful and value.